Okay, we ready?
Well, good morning. I hope you're doing well. We're back in Enshrouded, and look what Gus built for me. It is a pavilion. It's going to be a hall for all of our mannequins. It's going to be very nice. So he did the hard work. He did the structure itself. And now I get to do the decorating and putting in all the mannequins. And while I get to work on that, well, you get to enjoy our adventures looking for iron. Gus and I had a general idea of where the iron was at this point, but not the exact location. However, the iron wasn't the only point of interest nearby, and we decided to check out the closest spot first, following a clue from a previous camp about a stray cat. Of course, we'd have to get rid of the current residents, a rowdy group of scavengers who weren't too bright and kept getting themselves stuck behind walls. Oh well, easy pickings for us. The camp wasn't anything special, the usual ragtag tents with some scavengers hanging out. I imagine that, despite their brutal nature, some of them may have once been legitimate residents of this town, this Sapphire Strand, before life in Emberville went to hell. Did the elixir do this to them? Or was it the aftermath of the wars and destruction? Either way, they weren't our friends. Could tell this was a smaller city, and probably pretty nice. But like all of the places we visited, it hadn't escaped the wrath of the Shroud. And as nice as I could imagine this once being, our main goal was clear. Find Kitty, tame Kitty, get out of Dodge. Well, and clear it of a few more of its residents, too. It seemed that as improved as the AI for the mobs was, it had not extended to them figuring out how to climb ladders. So attacking them from above was always a good bet. At first, I thought I wasn't hitting much of anything, but then I realized that my attacks were chasing the mobs down. Oh well, there goes the need for aiming. Those giant birds weren't really helping matters either, but at least they were easy to deal with. At last we found her. One kitty cat. One very skittish kitty cat. I headed up to higher ground and left Gus to do his magic, attempting to tame the cat. It took burning up the rest of the daylight we had, but he was successful. The cat was quite a challenge, being in so small a space, and with 5 parts to turn before she was willing to be picked up. But it was done, and we could head out again. In the dark, it was even harder to see where we were, or where we were going. Gus was determined to continue, feeling like we were close to our destination. Maybe we were, but it was likely best to head back to base with the new cat and return in the daylight. Back out in the daylight, we were finding more of the giant birds, though most of them were distracted by the armadillo-type creatures below. Poor armadillos. They get killed by everything and can barely defend themselves. We also kept finding birds' nests with hooks up to them, but the hooks never worked right. Not sure why, but the one time Gus managed to get up to a nest, there wasn't anything good in it. Oh well. We even caught sight of a bird fighting a shrouded bird. At least they were fighting until they saw us. Then they each picked one of us to come after. It's too bad we can't tame the giant birds. It'd be interesting to use them as flying mounts, though I imagine there'd have to be some limits put in place. Maybe a limited flight range before they land, something like that. After wandering a bit, we found some ore that looked suspiciously like iron. And it was iron, finally. So we rolled up our sleeves and got to work. Wasn't sure exactly how much of the iron we were going to need right away, but I wasn't going to leave without filling up my bags as full as I possibly could with it, and neither was Gus. While I was intent on getting as much iron as I could, something else was intent on getting me. Fortunately, Gus was paying more attention and managed to pick it off while I was distracting it by running around and not dying. Thank you, Gus. Again. And in all of our excitement over finding the iron, we still hadn't found the actual iron mine. But Gus was quick to fix that too, so I just had to catch up with him. I could see Gus down below, but with all the fog, I wasn't certain where the ground actually was. Finally, I just pointed myself in his direction and hoped for the best. I could have timed that landing a bit better, though. Well, we were here, and had already pissed off the mobs in the area. May as well see what else the mine has to offer. Okay, those armor-shrouded guys are tough. Looks like they were former knights. Ah, and a shroud root. Time to get rid of that. With the shroud partially cleared, I could see just how much iron there was at this mine. Since I had a little left on my pickaxe, I decided to finish it off by getting more iron. This really was quite the mining site. I can imagine how many people it took to work it. The stuck bug was rather amusing too. Wonder what those bugs were before the shroud. Maybe just regular beetles? Who knows? But of course, those questions were for another time. We'd gotten what we came for, and it was time to return home to base and get to work making iron ingot. We finally found our iron, and we had a lot of fun doing it. We even found a new cat. We'll meet her in a second. But first, well, I have finished decorating the pavilion, and here it is. At least I've done everything I can with it for the moment. I kind of set it up like a little court scene. Have all the people gathered round, the king and queen front and center, their court. They're very well defended, aren't they? I think I did all right. I think Gus will like this. He might not like that I used the extra iron, but we'll get more. Okay, even put some places to sit down so we could sit and rest here. I like this. I really like what Gus did with this. All the little extra openings that let the light in. Kind of fun. What do you think? Leave me a comment. And of course, I don't think we're done filling it in with mannequins. I believe we still have a couple more cosmetics to find. And of course, there are cosmetics to make, like this explorer set that you make from the bard. Kind of neat looking. Oh, and if anybody ever wanted to see what the helm for my new armor looks like, well, we could do that real quick. After we take off, see if I can do that. Well, I don't know how to do it. I was going to take off the cosmetic. Oh, wait. I do know how to do it. I can do it like... Where is the one that doesn't have a hat? One of them doesn't. You. So, all I have to do is this. And now, you can see what her helm looks like. It's interesting. This is a giant braid down the back. Full face coverage. Like I said, it's interesting. I think we're gonna stick with we're gonna stick with our little crown. There, that's much better. And because I did promise, go in here, close the door, so we don't let any cats out. And there's a new kitty. Hello, kitty. Isn't it cute? Kitty's name is Rascal. We didn't name it. The game named it. Of course, now another cat wants to get pet. What's a Siamese cat with green eyes? I like it. Oh yes, and we've upgraded in here a little bit. Have some crystal dishes now. I think my favorite upgrade, and I don't know if I showed y'all this, but I've finally made the brass bathroom component. So now we go in here and we have the bathtub and we have a shower. Now that one was finicky to get in. It's very tall. I had to dig down and sink it in. I also had to break the ceiling to put it in and then put the ceiling back in. Fun. Of course, couldn't fit everything on that side, so I made a little space on this side, and this is the outhouse. We have our little sink here, and over here we have the toilet. And you're like, but there's no door on it. Trust me, that is about as private a room as you're going to get. No matter what direction you come from, you can't see that toilet. It is private. I like that. However, that is it for today. We've made a lot of progress. We've added a little new something to the base. We've had a lot of fun. And next time, well, we'll see what Gus and I get up to next time. But until then, bye for now.